So you want to learn how to loop, huh? Well, as the bona fide Forsaken guide maker myself, I feel obligated to help you out. Now pull up your socks and suit up, cause it's time to get dizzy.
I don't understand what's going on here.
You have to understand, not all styles of looping are for everyone. There are three things you can do. You can A, play for distance, B, play with abilities in mind, or C, play like a juiced up Beyblade and spin the killer like a human spin cycle. Can you tell which one I like? Jason's good at punishing survivors. Cool Kid's good at applying pressure through his projectiles and AI threats. John Doe's good at leading people to an advantageous position, and we don't look 1x4 directly in the eyes. But what do all of them have in common? Stamina. It's stamina. Please pay attention to your stamina. People be running it to zero whenever they're in chase. Hell, sometimes I do it on accident. Never do this. It's bad and I hate you when you suck. Here's a random timer I pulled from the internet. I probably have a virus, but at least now you know how much time it takes to start regenerating from zero. See, a good Forsaken player knows when to mix and match the three styles of looping to make up what we in the asymmetrical horror community call perfect pathing or unique pathing. Perfect pathing is exactly what you think it is. Draw a straight line from the point you are to the point you want to go. There's stuff in the way, yeah? Take the path of least resistance by hugging walls. Unique pathing is where things get interesting. You gotta get into the head of the killer you're facing. They saw me do this, so they'll expect it. Do something else. And actually, this clip brings me to my next topic, check spots. You see how in the clip I move my camera to a spot where I can see which way the killer goes? That's called a check spot. Every map has like an infinite number of them, so it's not hard to figure out where and where not to check spot. Check spots are usually only done by survivors in asymmetrical horror games, because the killer is usually first person, but this game doesn't have that problem. The utility of check spotting is clear as day. It keeps you hidden and reveals the killer. You can see if they try and bait and switch, going another way, and counter it because they don't know that you know. Aside from that, I still have yet to talk about the three forms of looping at all, so first, we talk about keeping distance. Keeping distance is the easiest looping method you can do. Other people call it holding W, and others call it being scared to loop, but I call them both idiots because it's also the most efficient way to keep chase. In short, you see the killer? Run your ass to the other side of the map. They can't kill you if you bolt to the nearest border and country and take up residence. The biggest issue with doing this is if you're a character that's designed to take hits and still the killer. If you're 2-time or 007 and 7, it's better, if not the best way to play them. But if you're Shidletsky or Guest 1337 and you're pre-running every encounter like you gotta make it to the nearest bathroom, I hope that door is locked and you know what happens next. You gotta know when to run and when to hold your ground, because it's easy to run, but when you know you can save multiple lives in exchange for yours, it might just be worth it. But also, don't be a martyr. If you're running to protect a noob that's using slate skin and there's 2 seconds left on the clock, but you're 1 HP, you're asking for it. And finally, it's now time for the second way of looping, playing for abilities. Playing for abilities is what people would call the more fun way to loop. An action-packed chase where you bloody your knuckles with the killer in hopes of buying precious seconds as the clock ticks down. I'd like to assume that this is the form of looping most of you are familiar, if not good at, before watching this video. There are some things I'd like to say on behalf of every killer in existence. You ain't hitting shit when you run up and hipfire. I see too many guest 1-7s blatantly go for a 360 dodge, and if it whiffs, they hover over their block key like it'll save your life if you get shot 37 times in the chest. Newsflash, it won't. You just opened yourself up to a gashing wound, a walk speed override, a mass infection, hell, even a digital footprint. Playing around abilities shouldn't be buying time for the next chase extension via stun. These are last resort resources, that's what they're intended to be. The killers have an HP pool, but it doesn't mean you're supposed to kill them. There's no fanfare, there's no bonus XP or money, you just win the round early. This isn't to say that you can't do a different style of this kind of looping called roaming, where you follow behind the killer at a safe distance and pose as a constant threat if they engage in chase with a more important survivor. The easiest survivor to roam with, in my opinion, is Chance because his stun is ranged. This also plays into the next topic. There's a funny thing you can do, where if you see a killer in the middle of an animation, you can stun them and nullify the ability, even if it gets sent out on the same frame. Usually I wouldn't recommend using, say, Hideki as a roamer, because a stun, despite being good, is very bad in terms of range, so the survivors have to run the chase into you instead of you running into the killer. If it's a tag team effort with a friend, I could see your teamwork making quick work of the killer, but if it's a random, don't expect them to understand what your plan is. Naturally, guess 1-7 is the top dog of the ability playstyle. He's got 3 abilities that just kinda say no you in the middle of a chase, 2 getting rid of damage, and 1 that just has the potential to sit a killer down as long as Hideki can. Sometimes I wonder why Guest gets a block, a parry, and the Forsaken equivalent to Dead Hard, but go off I guess. But also, I want to give some advice to all the Guest mains out there. You don't have to parry every attack you block, because chances are, the windup is so long, the killer has enough time to see, react, and then double down. Just the killer knowing that you have a punch ready is enough to make them take wider turns around corners waiting for you to use it. You'll start to notice it once you try it out, so the next time you block, wait a few seconds before using it. You make enough distance anyways. And now for my favorite style of looping. Wait, you thought I knew what I was doing?
And I love you, random citizen.